Hello students, welcome to e-lecture of LCIT Public School for the class 12 Commerce. Introduction to Macroeconomics was the last chapter. Next chapter is National Income and Related Aggregates. In the previous chapters you have already learned what is the concept, whole concept and various things that lead to calculation of national income. In this class, we are going to learn what are the various factors that are included in calculation of national income and what does all these factors mean and how all these factors are calculated. In this chapter, let us see what are the concepts we are going to learn. The concepts are concept of national income, what is national income, what it is all about, then national and domestic income, what is the difference between domestic and national income, then gross and net concepts of domestic product, what are the basic concepts of domestic product, then domestic product at market price and at factor price. Next is aggregates of national income, nominal and real GDP, that is gross domestic product, and GDP and welfare. We'll study about all these concepts in this chapter. Now let us see the next concept, the first concept, that is concept of national income. What is a national income? It is the total of all the income earned by the residents of a country within a year. Within a year, all the incomes earned by all the crores of people, the sum total of that will be known as national income. It includes factor income only and only the income of normal residents, and it does not include the income of the people who are not the normal residents and other incomes. Factor income, except factor income, there is also different income which are known as transfer payments. Transfer payments are not included in national income. These concepts we are going to learn in further slides. See, the income is of two types. You have already learned in previous class also. The first is factor income, next is transfer income. Transfer income is unilateral payments. Unilateral means one-sided. It is one-sided payment. You are giving grants, donation, and you are not receiving anything return of that. In return, you are not receiving any service, any product, nothing. But in factor incomes, you are giving a service or a product and you are receiving something. Either you are giving a product or you are giving a service and then you are receiving the money. It is a two-way process. It is not a unilateral payment, it is a bilateral payment. So, compensation given, rent given, interest given, profit given, this all will be received. When these all incomes are received, it is included in national income. But donation, grants to various institutions is not counted in factor income. It is a transfer income. So it will not be included in the national income as we will calculate for a particular country. So only bilateral incomes are included. If you are giving any product or service and then receiving the income, that income will be included. Now next we see who are normal residents. Normal residents who ordinarily resides in our country, and it can include both individual and institution. These are the people living in our country for a period of time, and I'll tell you what period. And he may not be necessarily citizen of India. It is not compulsory that this person is the citizen of India if he is earning in our country. There are various criterions in which normal residents can be determined. Either they are normal residents or not. For examples, Indian working in foreign embassies in India. If a person is from India and he is working in foreign embassies in India, For example, there are various embassies. For example, US embassy is there in India. It is located in New Delhi, and the Indian people working there, they are earning income from there. They will be the normal residents of our country. Their income will be included in national income of our country. So here in the last slide we saw what are the incomes, what are the nature of incomes that should be included. In this slide you see whose income should be included. So normal residents income should be included in the national income of a particular country. It includes both individual and institution. It can be any institution, partnership firm, or a government body, or any company. It should be residing in India and earning income in India. And they are not compulsorily to be the citizens of India. Now let us see who are not the normal residents of a country. These are the foreign officials and diplomats who are of different country. They are of a foreign country or any army people. They are not included in our normal residence. They are excluded. Their income will not be included in our national income. Then international organizations located in our country, for example, WHO, IMF, International Monetary Fund. These are various international organizations who have their head offices in various countries, various branches in various countries. So these institutions will not be treated as normal residents. Then there are foreigners who visit our country for traveling, recreation, holidays, medical treatment, studies, conferences, sports, etc. They will not be included in normal residents. Clear? All these people are anyway residing in India and doing their job or doing their work or spending holidays or are here. They are living in India, but they will not be included in normal residents because their income does not earn from the source of India. Now let us see some examples of normal residents and non-residents. They both are different things. In non-residents, foreigners working in Indian embassy in foreigner working who are working in Indian embassy. So Indian embassy, foreign embassy will be located in India. Indian embassy will be located in foreign. So for example, in US there is an Indian embassy. All the people working will not be Indian there. There will be some foreigners also working there. So their income will not be included in normal resident category. In the same way, Indians working in foreign embassy in India are normal residents. For example, US embassy we are having in New Delhi. If there are Indian workings in there, they are working in foreign embassy, right? So they will not be concluded at foreign residents. They are Indian residents and they will be treated as normal residents. They are Indians and they are earning in India. Next we see Indians employed in WHO in India. Indians who are employed in international organization. That organization is not a normal resident, but Indian people working in there will be treated as normal residents of India. Foreigner working in WHO in India will not be considered as normal residents. They will be considered as non-residents. They are not our residents and their income will not be included in national income. Then foreign citizen living in India for more than 1 year. If a foreign citizen is earning and living in India for more than 1 year, then he will be treated as normal residents. The criteria here is, I told you I'll tell about the criteria. The criteria here is 1 year. If he fulfills 1 year while living in India, his income will be included in our national income. He will be considered as normal residents while calculation of national income. Then there is foreign ambassador in India from the rest of the world. Foreign ambassador who are living in India, they are working in as an ambassador in India. They are not Indian ambassadors, they are foreign ambassadors who are in India from the rest of the world, from different countries, from US, from Japan, from Australia. There are foreign ambassadors. They will be considered as non-residents as they are getting their income from their governments. If there is a US ambassador, he is getting their income from US government and he is not getting income from India. He is getting his income from US government. Then it will be considered as non-resident. And Indian ambassador for rest of the world. If an Indian ambassador is there in US, Australia, Japan, Europe, wherever, he will be considered as normal resident because in the same way Indian government is paying him the salary or the compensation. Indian government is paying from their own funds to these ambassadors, hence they will be considered as normal residents and their income will be included in our own national income. Hope you got this difference. Next we see the next concept of domestic and national income. You must have listened these terms in either newspapers or some journals or economic channels. See, there is a slight difference between two types of income, domestic income and national income. They might sound familiar but they have a difference. Domestic income is sum of factor income generated by all production unit within domestic territory, within the boundaries of India, wherever and whatever production of goods and services is done will be calculated under domestic income. In national income, the sum total of factor incomes like rent, wages, interest and profit accruing to normal residents. Normal residents, here it is specified that incomes of only normal residents, that is factor income, during a definite period of time, that is of 1 year, will be included in national income. Then, irrespective of national income, normal residents or non-residents, that is foreigners, even if foreigners are earning income here in our country, within our country, they are receiving money, then it will be domestic income. While national income has a different concept, they only include earned income by normal residents of the country. I told you in the previous section who are normal residents and who are non-residents. Domestic income includes income of all the people, whether residents, non-residents, normal residents, whoever they may be. Domestic income includes all the incomes. National income includes only the factor income earned by normal residents of a country. Let us better understand by an example. Rent received by a company in India which is owned by a non-resident. For example, the rent is received and that company is owned by some foreigner. For example, it is owned by Donald Trump and the rent is received by that company. That rent will be included in domestic income while it will not be included in national income. It is not includable. An example of national income, salary received by an Indian employee working in the Japanese embassy in India. So I told you there are various embassies in India. In India there will be foreign embassies and in foreign there will be Indian embassies. So here for example there is a Japanese embassy and an Indian employee is working there and earning salary. So that income will be included in national income because the salary is being given by the government of India. To better understand the domestic and national product, you can refer to this diagram where the national output of country in case of domestic product include everything: national income, national output, national expenditure, and it also includes income of foreign multinationals, foreign people who are living in India and earning. Their income is also included in GDP. While in gross national product, it excludes income earned by multinationals. It only includes factor income. See, factor income is all added. In GDP, every income is added. All the incomes are added. Then GDP plus net property income from abroad. If there are people living in Indian people, normal residents, people living in foreign and they are earning an income, then that income will also be included. But what will be excluded? The income earned by multinational when profit is sent back to other country. So they are earning money here and they are sending the profit back to their own country. They are utilizing for their own country's process and not for our country's process. This income will be excluded from gross national product. The next of which is very tiny concept, that is gross and net concepts of domestic product. We have learned what is a GDP. It is a production of overall goods and services in a particular country. So GDP can be of two types, that is GDP and NDP. Domestic product can be categorized into two types, gross domestic product and not net domestic products. In the previous chapter, already told you gross difference between gross and net. There is only a single difference, which is of depreciation. So in gross, obviously depreciation is included. In net, the depreciation is excluded. Depreciation is sum total of all the difference between, that is consumption of fixed capital. There must be some depreciation, some effluxion in the value, some reduction in the value of fixed capital, that is fixed assets. That reduction in value will be deducted from gross domestic product and it will become net domestic product. In the same way, gross domestic product includes all the depreciation and does not deduct any depreciation from the produce. If there is total production, for example, 100 lakh crores, then it is gross domestic product. And if there is some deduction of depreciation, for example, 20 lakh crores, then there is 80 lakh crores will be net domestic product, as depreciation has been deducted from the gross domestic product. Hope you understood this. The basic difference between gross and net concept is the depreciation. Okay students, this is the end of this class. The next concepts that are left will be taught in the next class. I hope you understood all the concepts in this chapter, and if you have any doubt you can obviously ask me in the comment section below. And this chapter is a bit creative and a bit informative for you people, because now these concepts will come in practical use when you are studying and when you are watching news where national product and GDP and NDP and whatnot concepts and terms are used, and these terms now will be familiar to all of you guys. Hope you have a safe day and stay safe, stay indoors everybody.